So very good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Now today we're going to sit down at home and we're going to have a little bit of a chat about my new toy, which is my Canon 5D Mark III. I only got this camera yesterday, and last night me and Dave, we went for a bit of a walk around somewhere called Kirby Underdale, just to have a little bit of a scouting mission and just see what's around there before we go there making videos. It's always a good idea to go and have a little bit of a scout, so I took the 5D Mark III along with me. I just wanted to see how the camera performed, how it handled, what the images was like, and how the files that it produced reacted to being edited. So let's get stuck in. Let's have a bit of a chat, initial impressions sort of thing about this Canon 5D Mark III. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is the camera, its physical form, okay? So it's very, very reminiscent of my old Canon 60. I had a Canon 60 a couple of years ago. It's very, very reminiscent of that, and if I wanted to sort of compare it to a camera that I currently own, this is my Canon 7D, this is the 5D3. So 5D, the Canon 7D, are very, very similar at the front, and if I spin them both around, they're very, very similar looking. The 5D is a bit bigger than the 7D, but all in all, the form factor, it's very, very similar. As I was saying, it's very reminiscent of my old Canon 6D. Now, it's a fully weather sealed camera, which is great because I do outside landscape photography, so if it does start raining or gets a little bit damp while we're out, it's not a problem because this thing is fully weather sealed, and it's got a magnesium alloy body as well, which makes it quite rugged and robust. So if I do happen to drop it from a very short height, I imagine it would survive the drop. Now, I got this camera second hand from a website called MKiii.com. I traded a camera and a lens against it. I got the camera and a little bit of money back. This camera was described as in well-used condition. The only bit of well-usedness, if I can focus this, there's a little bit of a paint scuff on the bottom corner there. So for some reason MPB's grading, it's a little bit weird because it's just a bit of a paint mark and it's come as a well-used. So I feel like I've got a little bit of a bargain there for £500 is what it would have cost if I hadn't have traded, but there we go. So let's talk about some image quality with this 5D Mark III. Now, last night I went out, I took a few photos, so I'm going to throw them on the screen for you to see now. So this is one that I really, really did like. I had absolutely no problem editing this file or whatsoever. In fact, I slightly overexposed this. I do tend to shoot towards the right when I shoot anyway, but I was shooting handheld and I maybe did overexpose this. You can see in the top right hand corner, some of the clouds up in the top right are a little bit overexposed. There's sort of that white bordering on no detail. There's maybe a little bit of greying out in the corner of the sky, but other than that, the highlight recovery on this raw file was spot on. I had absolutely no problems bringing, I think it was about 2 stops back in the sky, so I was quite happy with that. And the rest of the image, or the shadow recovery, it was about hit and miss, as it often is with Canon. See, Canon's cameras, they're okay at bringing highlights back, but if you're lifting shadows up, they tend to get noisy. But I think that comes down to Canon's cameras suffering from a slight lack of dynamic range if compared to some of the Sony cameras with 14 stops. I think this 5D3 has 11.7 stops, so it's not the best out there for dynamic range. This is why, as a Canon user, I tend to slightly overexpose. As long as I'm not clipping the highlights, I will take it as far right as I possibly can, basically to enable me to bring some of the shadows back. But this 5D3, it handled it pretty well. If we sort of have a look at some of the trees where the shadows would likely be, see, there's plenty of detail in there. There's maybe a little bit of noise, but not enough that's going to cause me any concern. So there's the first photo. Now the second photo, I tried to expose this perfectly and properly, and I think it's done a really nice job. Again, you can see just how punchy the colours are, how much you're able to bring out and everything. And I really quite like this image. I quite like the way the sunlight was shining on the grass and on the side of the trees as well. It really sort of adds a little bit of character to the image. The final image, I'm not so in love with this one. Again, I shot this towards the right just to really test the dynamic range, see how far I can drag things about and everything. And you know, the sky, it really didn't hold up too well. You can see in the top left corner of this image, the sky it's all but gone. But again, there's some nice light being shined on things, and I think it handled well. It's not the best performing camera. The Canon RP that this has been recording on, it's a bit more of a modern centre, and I would find that probably would handle things a little bit better than this 5D. But overall, this is going to be my main day-to-day photography camera from now on. 22 megapixels, it's more than enough for me. So yeah, I quite enjoyed my my first outing with this. Like I say, it's weather sealed, it's rugged, it's robust. The mode dial, again, it's very reminiscent of my old 6D. It's got the full mode dial there, and you can press the button in the centre to twist things around. Live view, it's not exceptional, but it's not the worst live view experience I've ever had. This thing shoots 6 frames a second, which again is going to be more than enough for what I'm going to do. And really, I'm really just more trying to test the audience reaction with this 5D Mark III. I know a lot of you that watch this do watch me for the 7D. I've been kind of trying to build a channel around using older camera gear for a while now, and I think it's really hit off thanks to the 7D. So I'm hoping by introducing this 5D Mark III, it's another, I'll call it an affordable camera. It's not a very expensive camera anymore. It's not a cheap camera, but it's not a very expensive camera. It's sort of in that affordable range at £500, and I hope we're going to have some fun with this thing on the channel. So thank you very much for watching me rambling and rabbiting on, just my first impressions of this 5D. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go out tomorrow morning, I think, is my first trip out with this. I'm going to head out somewhere for sunrise, probably the coast, because I live close by and it just makes sense for sunrise. So I'm thinking maybe head out to the coast tomorrow with a 5D and really just put it through its paces and really take some nice photographs with it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to catch you in the next one.